welcome to another video. Today I am going to take you through 5 books that I really want to reread at some point. I am a rereader. If a book is particularly special to me, I will want to read it multiple times. If a book is like part of a series that I need to recap on before the next one comes out, I will reread. If there is a full series that I have loved and I want to experience again from start to finish, I will reread. Yeah, if a book deserves a reread, I will give it a reread. I'm not one of these people that will only read a book once. Like, if you enjoy a movie, you wouldn't only watch it once. If you liked a song, you wouldn't only listen to it once. Do you know what I mean? So, rereading is something I enjoy. So yeah, I'm going to take you through 5 books that I have on my shelves that I want to reread at some point. I don't know whether that'll be sometime soon or sometime in the more distant future, but I want to definitely give them another go, whether that's for the 2nd time or the 12th. But yeah, let's get cracking through my 5 picks. The first book on my list of books I want to reread probably shouldn't come as any surprise to anyone that knows me, because it is one that I have reread many times and plan on rereading again. And that is I Am Number 4 by Pittacus Law. Someone did point out to me in one of my videos recently where I spoke about this that there is some controversy behind the author, and Pittacus Law isn't a real person, that is a name given for the book series. But this book was actually written by James Frey and Jobby Hughes, and I'm not sure who deserves more credit in that duo that wrote this, but there are some issues surrounding James Frey and his treatment of other people, but I don't want to get into it because I only learnt about it literally the other day, so I don't know the ins and outs of it and stuff, but I understand now the controversy behind it. That for me doesn't take anything away from how much I love this book, but I'm glad I'm aware of it. I just want to say that thanks to the lovely lady that commented on one of my other videos to let me know about it, I'm now aware. Thank you for pointing it out, and I'm glad that I know. But I still love this book. Whether it was written by James Frey or Jobby Hughes, whoever you want to give the credit to, I'm just going to stick with Pittacus Law, because, you know, that's the name given to it, so let's stick with that for me anyway. I love this series. I've reread this book 11 times. I want to reread it again. I haven't finished the series, and that's what I need to do, so I need to reread this and the rest of the series in order to finish up the series with the most recent book that only came out last year, I believe. It's just finding the time to fit them all in because there's quite a few of them. But yeah, I hope to reread this soon. This was turned into a movie. I definitely prefer the book to the movie. The book is much better. It is a sci-fi following a guy called John, but not John for... That's not a spoiler, that's in the first... That's in the title, come on, it's on the blurb. But yeah, I like this series. I like the principle behind it. Aliens running away from other aliens, taking refuge on Earth, going kind of undetected. But yeah, I would like to reread this at some point in my life. The second book on my list probably also won't come as a surprise to a lot of people if you know me or if you don't know me or whatever actually. But that is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas. I love this book, I love this series, I love everything. I actually am currently in the middle of a reread of ACOTAR. By the time this video goes up, I might have finished that, I might be on to this one already, but I'm buddy reading the whole series with Jess from Between the Lines, and I'm currently in the middle of this one with her, and I will go on to Akamath, and then we will go on to Akawar. It is a first time read for her, but it is a reread for me. But as I'm in the middle of this one, I didn't want to include that one because I might have actually finished it by the time this goes up. So this one will be next, and it will definitely be my next reread of the ones on this list. And I can't wait because this is still my favourite of the trilogy, and I love it so much. Like, so much. I don't really need to say anything else, do I? A lot of people have read this multiple times and I want to be one of them people because I am all for it. Number 3 on my list of books that I want to reread is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I loved this book I did buddy read this with G from Book Roast, and we took it very slow, but I enjoyed that because it was so magical and it was always something nice to kind of come back to, and it was kind of like mysterious in the way that I didn't really understand it as I was reading it. And I feel like having a reread of it, like knowing how it ends, having a reread of it, I feel like there will be more things that I will notice, things I will understand more, characters I will understand more. So I think it will be a really interesting one to reread, and knowing the story I feel like it might be like a completely different book on a reread. But yeah, I loved it so much. It was so magical, so fantastic. Characters, the location, all of this book was just magical, so I would really like to revisit it. The Night Circus is a fantastic setting and I would not complain about going back. So I would like to. I still am so annoyed about my copy of this book. It's one of those annoying laminated books and the lamination on mine is just peeling so badly and I hate it for that. But I love the contents of the book, and the cover as well actually is really pretty. But yeah, definitely deserves a reread. It's so beautifully written. I can't fault it. It's just such a beautifully written book. It's a real piece of art and it deserves to be appreciated multiple times, in my opinion. The next book on my list of rereads is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I do have a book babble for this on my channel somewhere. I'll either put in an info card or I'll link it below or whatever. But this book was insane for me to read. It was my favourite book of the year until ACOWAR, sorry. I absolutely love this. Maggie's writing is insane. It was so immersive. The locations were so immersive. The characters were so relatable and just so real. Like, everyone was constructed in such a fantastic way and you really got to know the characters and feel part of them, and it was just fantastic. Honestly, the setting of Cabeswater is hands down probably the best location writing I've ever experienced. It was so magical, so immersive. Again, immersive I think is definitely the word to apply to Maggie Stiefvater's writing, and I want to give this whole series a reread because it deserves it so much. This book inspired so much within me. Like, when I finished it, I couldn't just put it down and move on to something else. I needed to sit and process and think about what I'd just read and think about what I had experienced, and I then wrote an 11-page review in my book journal, which is insane. But I loved it so much and I couldn't just put it down and not think about it. It just stayed in my head, and I think that is the sign of a really fantastic book, which this is, and it definitely deserves the love of a reread. So yeah, that one. We're now on to my last book of my top 5 books I want to reread. And this one, again, should probably come as no surprise to anyone that knows me or has been around on my channel for a little while or anything like that. I need to reread this soon. It's been a while, and this I always put up as my favourite book of all time. It's definitely got itself some competition now with some of the other ones I've mentioned, The Raven Boys, ACOWAR, but this book just really holds something special in my heart, and that is Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. I love this book. Something insane. It's really tiny, so I could probably reread it in one sitting, but this book is just so special to me. It's such an insane read. It doesn't make sense, which is something that I love. Like, the whole trilogy, when you get to the end of it, you're kind of a bit like, what? What? And the end of this book, if you didn't want to read the whole trilogy, you could probably just read this on its own, and I do always put this forward as my recommended book for people. If you only read one book that I recommend, by golly, make it this one. What was that? If you trust anything I say, if you believe in me at all, this book is only 195 pages. 195 pages, it's not even 200 pages long. Read it. I beg of you. This book is amazing. I want to reread it, like, now. Looking at it, I want to read it tonight. I've got so many other things to read. It's a sci-fi. It is about an expedition into Area X, and anyone that's ever come back from these expeditions has either not come back or come back not quite the same. And this book follows the 12th expedition into Area X. And Area X is like this untamed wilderness that's just not quite right. It's like a living being in itself. and it's their discovery of it and the weird things that it does to them. Never has a book made me sit so close to the edge of my seat that I nearly fell on my face. This is insane, okay? I don't want to say too much more about it, but I love it and I want to reread it pretty much immediately right now. Okay, now that I've rambled about that for a little while. So there we have it. They're my 5 picks for a reread that I would like to do. All of these books are special to me. I love them all very much. What am I saying? They're all 5 stars. Obviously, I wouldn't want to reread them if they weren't. I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you for joining me to go through my rereads. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, chat to me down in the comments, tell me what books you desperately want to reread or are in the middle of rereading or would like to reread at some point in your life. And if you're not a rereader, tell me why. But yeah, thumbs up, chat to me down in the comments, and if you fancy subscribing, I'm always eternally grateful for that. I upload every Sunday and Wednesday and some odd days in between if I'm feeling generous, and I will see you next time. Bye!